Welcome to the preview of my Bushcraft belt from Black Sheep Leathers. Now I'm going to do a little runway spin for you. All right, now we're sawing a piece of wood. Dang, my joints hurt. I stole a blue jay's nest and I'm going to set it on fire. Now we're going to send some smoke signals. It's free after 9 p.m. Press a leaf. Boom, leather. Boom, joints again. Boom, now we got fire. What's going on, guys? If you hear some vehicle traffic in the background, I apologize for that. I thought I had my mic charged up, but I don't. That's awful, but it's just a situation that we're in. I'm also probably only about 100 yards off of the highway, but it's Sunday. I've got some other things I've got to do, get ready for work Monday, so we're not going to get into getting too far off the beaten path, but I thought that this would provide a decent atmosphere for a video of this type. And also it's starting to drip and rain a little bit, so we've got that going on too. But we'll make the best out of it. This is my custom Bushcraft belt, survival belt, trekking belt, whatever you want to call it. Really doesn't matter. You call it a Batman. I call it my Batman utility belt for the things that I do. It's just a nice little kit to have everything that I usually use on a normal basis at my fingertips. I can grab it. I enjoy it. It's everything that I wanted. It's produced by a guy in upstate South Carolina, or Oconee, South Carolina. He runs a small business called Black Sheep Leathers. I'll try to put some contact information in the description box below. But he'll work with you on just about anything. He's been working with leather for, I think, going on 1.5 years, 2 years, something like that, at the time of producing this video. He's a very, very talented guy. He'll work with you on just about everything. Everything he does is hand stitched. He does a lot of belts, a lot of wallets and things like that. So, and he'll work with you on just about any project you've got. You can pick out the different colors of dye that you want and the different colors of stitching and things like that. So, very good custom work. Highly recommending. Now, on to the video. Now, one thing to note is that anything that doesn't have this super dark dye color on it is not a pouch that he produced. So, something like the holster for the Ruger Wrangler, he didn't produce it. The holster for the BPS knife here, he didn't produce it either. So just something to keep in mind when you're looking at these things, but he can do very similar work to that, if not, very good replicas if you're looking for that type of work. Now, as far as the development of this belt goes, this goes into a lot of different things, a lot of different testing of products, which we're not going to go over in this video. But things that I've used over the years and I really enjoy having at my fingertips, I enjoy having on me, that definitely play a big role in the different things that I do. I just kind of put all those things together on the things I knew that I wanted to have in my fingertips, the things I didn't want in my pockets, but also didn't want in my bag, in my pack, to have to dig out every single time I needed to use them for just a moment, which is a lot of time the case with some of these smaller items. Now, it's also nice to have a belt kit like this so that if I want to take a break for a minute doing the things that I'm doing and I want to string up my hammock and lay in it for a minute, I don't have to undo the belt that's holding my pants up and then unweave all these different pouches just to comfortably climb into my hammock and chill out for a minute. I can just undo one belt buckle. I can take that belt off. I can hang it up on a limb. Nobody's going to steal it. It's not going to run off. Squirrels aren't going to run off with it. It doesn't happen on a regular basis anyways. So you don't have to have all these things, tied into paracord on a necklace around you or onto a bracelet that's permanently attached, and these things aren't going to run off. It just, unless you just, I don't know what situation it would be, but it just doesn't happen. I came to him with this idea for the belt several months ago, and as he weeded through some of his other orders and I got up to date in line, basically I gave him all the products that I wanted him to look at and build pouches for. And I told him just, told him pretty much exactly what I wanted, but if you've got some suggestions, I knew that he knew how to work with the leather, so he might be able to provide some really good insight on a better way of doing things than ideas that I had. So it was probably around 5 or 6 months almost from my initial message to him to me having the finished product. So if you come to him with an idea, he does get a lot of orders, so it may be something that you have to wait for, but I'm telling you, it's totally worth it. Now, the belt itself is made out of buffalo leather. We went with that option because it's supposed to be a more heavy-duty, more robust leather than the cowhide, because it doesn't have to do as much articulating bends and curves as we would have to do with the wet molded pouches, which we went with cowhide for. Now, the belt buckle itself is I forget who manufactured it, but it's a pretty generic, probably Chinese belt buckle, but it was one of the only belt buckles I could find with decent shipping on short notice to kind of get this video out there. But it was purchased it off of Amazon, but I am looking at trying to find a local blacksmith or something like that and hiring them out to do a custom 2-inch belt buckle for this particular belt, something with a high carbon element so that it can be used as a striker for flint or quartz or anything else for utilization with char cloth. Now I'm gonna do a little runway spin for you here and just kind of let you get an eyeball view for the way that I've got this belt set up. So here I've got a compass pouch that's wet molded. This is the Sunto MC2 compass. He got really irritated with me about all the strings I have on everything, but he's like, I wanted you to have your strings, so I left them on and I figured it out. Now, in the bottom of all of these pouches, I wanted something to be, we talked about doing a grommet, just a metal grommet in the bottom as a drain hole. But after the first pouch that we made and we did some testing with it, we came up with the idea of, instead of doing one small, like 1/8 or 1/4 inch grommet, to just do a finger hole, which is about a 1/2 inch maybe in the bottom of all the pouches, so that it doubles as a grommet hole for a drain hole if anything were ever to get wet, but it also allows for a finger to come underneath the bottom and push the product out of the pouch. Now, up next, this pouch here, I've got my big lighter in the Exotac waterproof container. That helps. Of course, it's easy enough to get a wet lighter to work, but this eliminates that, and it also kind of helps me keep the fuel button from being pressed down. And also, I don't have to always look for red or orange lighters. I can just pick out whatever color lighter I happen to have from a 3 or 6 pack or whatever. If it doesn't matter if it's black or brown or whatever, I can put it in this orange container, and then if I drop it on the ground, it's always going to be orange, and that's what I like about that. And I've also got just a little tether to keep the lid to the body here. Now, up next, I've got my this forest axe that's been produced by Council Tools. Now, I told him that we finally came to the decision that we wanted the mask and the holster for the belt portion of it to be separate items, because it would be a lot of hassle to unbutton something and then maneuver the axe in and out of that holster. So we've got it set up as 2 different pieces. which I like. So this is just a standard loop that's got probably about a 4 or 5 inch drop, so that off of the belt, so that we can, it's a proper length so that you don't have to pull it up so far to get it out. Now, we decided to bring the securing strap on the inside, because if it were on the outside, it would be constantly hung up on tree limbs and be getting unsnapped. So with it being on the inside up against my body, it minimizes that chance of things getting hung up on it and unstrapping it. Now, second thing we wanted to do is, which I've never really seen on masks before, is I'm always worried about taking this off, and now I've got this dark brown piece of leather that blends in with a lot of vegetation, leaves, especially in the fall. You set this down and it's very hard to identify it. So you've either got to put it in a particular place, hide it, put it in back in your pack. So what I told him we wanted to do, I said, I don't really care how you do it, but I want something, a hook or a loop or something to secure the mask to the belt. So what we came up with is, set this down somewhere. What we came up with is this small D-ring here. And I've got a metal hook with a small carabiner on the loop for the axe handle, so I can go ahead and secure the mask to the loop that holds the axe on my belt. So I'm not going to, it's always on me, it's not going to get lost, it's there. Next thing that we have here is our glove holder. So I'll take this off and show you guys how it's put together and how it works. So we've got a small rectangular piece of metal here and a D-ring that acts as a weight here. All of this is this has been glued and riveted, and we've got a small carabiner here. So the way that this works is I'll slide my gloves in to a center section to distribute that weight out a little bit. Then this metal piece here is going to cinch down around the gloves, and then that weight is going to slide down and act as a weight to secure the primary metal tab down. So far it's working pretty well. I haven't lost any gloves yet. Maybe one of these days we'll come up with a better idea, maybe not, but that's what this is all about, right? You come up with an idea, you build it, you sew it, you stitch it, you carve it, whatever the thing is, you come up with an idea and you make it, or you have somebody else make it that does that type of thing, and then you realize, hey, this doesn't work, or hey, this works out great, and you don't have to do anything else to it. And sometimes you come up with ideas that don't work, and that's okay. Not everything works out all the time. But so if you come up with an idea and it doesn't work out, don't get discouraged on it. Just use it as a learning opportunity. Now, second off from the axe, anytime I'm carrying an axe, I'm going to be carrying a tourniquet and also some medical shears, just because it's easier and a little bit safer to working on myself or somebody else to use some medical shears, and they're light enough to carry, than it is to try to rip somebody's pants open with a 6 or 7 inch blade. It's just a little bit safer. So, and these were purchased in orange because it just makes sense. We're not in the military. We're not trying to hide from anybody or camouflage ourselves. But if we lose something that costs $20 or $100, then I definitely want to be able to see it. So if it has the option for high vis, orange, red, yellow, whatever, then I'm going to go for that option. Now, Next to the first aid kit, we've got the multi-tool that has another clip connected to it. So if I need to hook truck keys or whatever to it, I can. The multi-tool I've got here is the Gerber suspension, and I've got another finger loop here just in case I needed to push it up, but it's easy enough. There's enough sitting up here on top, enough real estate here to grab a hold of and pull it up. Now to the fire kit here. I've got the Swedish fire steel colored in orange so that it can be easily identified if we drop it. The leather that this slides into is so tight it doesn't really slide out. If it did, I've got a loop here, got several different hooks here that I could secure it to make it a little bit better. But I haven't had any issues with it raising up or anything else, so I'm pretty confident that it's not going to be going anywhere. Now, when I open this top flap here, the first thing is a magnifying lens with a finger-shaped groove cut in the leather. So I can slide that magnifying lens out. It's double-backed leather so that that lens is not scrubbing up against my Altoids tin, which holds my char cloth and lamp wicks. I've also got the finger hold here so I can pop it up, or the drain hole, but it's really not necessary. If it's down, I can still pull it out very easily. It's just a secondary option. And inside here, I've got my char cloth, I've got some charred punk wood, the lamp wick, I've got some crack cap polypore mushroom, and that all folds up very nicely. Next off of that, I've got my lighting kit. Now, this is a 2-pouch or a double pouch kit that I had him build, and in this container, or this pouch here, it slides out from the side, and I've got a battery container with rechargeable AAA batteries, enough for 2 or 3 changes. And we talked about what type of headlamp to use for this build, and we decided that he could use one of the more standard elastic band headlamps, but I thought that it would be a little bit more difficult for me to work into the leather pouch with all that elastic and everything, and plus to have more of a just kind of a cooler option. I decided to purchase one of these Petzl Zepka headlamps and give it a try. So it has a built-in retractable band so that it collapses very, very small. Now, something I don't like about this is it's not waterproof, and it just kind of feels a little more cheapy. But that's the great thing about knowing a leather guy, is I can buy stuff like this, have him build kits like this, and I can try it out. And if it doesn't work out, then I can find something else and have him build a kit for it. Got my Bahco Laplander saw, which is a nice little hand saw to have on hand. Right at your fingertips. You don't have to dig anything out of deep in your pack. I've also got my grandmother's binoculars, and my nickname for her was Gigi. So I had him do some laser engraving into this pouch. So I've got a nice small little set of binoculars on hand as well. Next, off of the binoculars, I've got my BPS knife that also has a ferro rod on it, and then the holster for the Ruger Wrangler. Both of these, which again he did not produce. And I like having it set up like this because I also use this belt whenever I'm walking the trap line and things like that. So it comes in handy, not having to weave this holster in and off of my pants belt. I can just put this whole kit on and have things right on hand to be able to saw limbs out of my way or whatever I need to do. Best part of this custom build is that if I take this belt off, I had him stitch all the way down the length of the belt a secondary piece of leather. So this is double layered, and there are also some thin metal rods lining the edges here to help protect the belt. Now, there's so much tension being caused from these other pouches that it's hard to pull it in and out. But if I slide these pouches off, which is easy enough to do, I have a bow saw blade stored within side of the length of the belt. And I could probably store 2 or 3 blades in here, so that while I'm out there, if I decide that I need a larger saw than my Bahco Laplander, I can go ahead and build that frame, and I've got a blade that's stored in a way that protects me and the blade. Now, getting the whole belt kit on is easy enough. I just bring it behind me, grab it, put it up above my pants belt, feed it in, find that loop, slide this through the loop that's on the belt itself, and then this tag end here, I just work it underneath some of the other pouches, situate everything, and I'm ready to rock and roll. Now, you might be wondering how, and I like this set up a lot better than having a haversack, because by the time, a lot of times haversacks, I don't really have enough room in a haversack to hold all the things that I would want to have at my fingertips. Next, you've got something that usually has a very thin strap on it, and by the time I get the things loaded in it that I want to have, it's too heavy to carry with the strap that's usually provided, and that thin strap usually cuts into me. Also, because it's a way of carrying your products that are a very undistributed weight system, because it's all being put on one shoulder or the other. I like the belt kit because everything is in line with my body. Between having the Ruger Wrangler over here and the axe, all the weight is distributed very easily. I don't have a lot of issue with anything being pulled one way or the other, and all the weight is transferred directly from my hips to my legs to my feet and back to the ground. So it honestly feels very, very lightweight, although the belt probably weighs, with all the tools and everything on it, the belt itself, including the leather and everything, probably weighs somewhere around in the 10 or 12 pound range. Now, you may be wondering how it works with carrying a pack, because we're also going to be doing that while we're out in the woods, right? So let me pause this video real quick, and I'll throw a pack on and show you how that works. All right, we got a Kelty pack here. I think this is like a 65 or something like that liter. we'll throw it on and I'll show you what it looks like between the back of the pack and the top of the belt. I've got this pack set to where it's as high as I can get it because I just like higher rise packs. That's a water bottle. Now with this, I've got so many things out of the pack onto my hips. A lot of them are some of the heaviest items. So in conjunction with that, honestly, I don't really like packs that have a waist belt on them. They're very uncomfortable to me. I took the waist belt off of this pack and pretty much most of my other ones. So you can see that there's a little bit of touching between the pack and the top of some of these pouches, but it doesn't interfere with it being comfortable. It doesn't interfere with me bending over or turning or anything like that. It's so far a very comfortable system for me. I can get to everything I need to get to. If I'm working on something, I'm not gonna have my pack on anyways. But if I'm traveling and I'm really having to work and do something, it doesn't interfere in pretty much any way so far. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. That's all I got. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your views. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I would love to see those in the comment box below. Any thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you got, let me see it. If you'd like to stay tuned to content like this, you can do that by hitting the subscribe button. I'll also be putting the links, the Amazon associate links to the different products I carry on and within this belt kit. So if you're interested in purchasing those, you can. It doesn't cost you any more to utilize those links, but it does provide support for this page, these videos, and also puts money into local professional hobby crafters within this area to build customized products like this and to bring those products to you. Now, if you don't have anyone in your area that does leather work, or if you're just in the upstate South Carolina area, I'll be putting the contact information for Jessie Cassell over at Black Sheep Leathers so that you can get a hold of him about any type of customized leather projects you might have, whether it's a belt or a wallet or a really cool bushcraft survival belt kit like this. So until next time, thank you for watching.